Greetings. It's Manage It Monday, where we take a moment to get clear about what matters most in our business: people, processes, and paperwork. Today's episode is called Root Cause Ready because when something goes wrong in your business, more specifically with a food product, the best thing that you can do is stop, investigate, and fix it for good. Now, let's talk about it. Now, earlier this week, I saw a post in a Facebook group where someone found a tiny piece of glass in their blueberry muffin mix. Now, if you have ever found a foreign object in your food, you know how that must feel. So, of course, my feedback was to notify the company, not just have a social media moment. Of course, you're pissed, but make sure that this is not a food safety emergency by notifying the supplier. This could be one of many boxes with glass, and we could have some serious issues if people consume them. So, the best thing is to notify the company so that they can start an internal investigation. This could potentially expose major system failures and may even lead to a product recall, which is a rush to get affected product off the shelves. Now, once the supplier is notified, they will begin what we call a root cause analysis. By definition, a root cause analysis, or RCA, is the process of identifying the underlying cause of a problem, not just treating the symptoms. So, in food safety, a root cause analysis helps answer what happened, why did it happen, and what will we change to prevent it from happening again. Now, root cause analysis is required under FDA FSMA rules. It's requiring preventive controls and corrective actions, and it's required under GFSI certification programs. They must be conducted in response to nonconformances during an audit. So, root cause analysis actually protects consumers and producers, and it forces you to comply with regulatory standards, meaning you can't just blow it off. As the manufacturer, you really need to know about that glass. Could it be a cracked mixing bowl, a broken light bulb, a foreign object detector that failed inspection? Something's got to get fixed if indeed there was an issue and this was not a prank. Now, let's talk about processes here. Here's how most facilities conduct a root cause analysis. First, you're going to receive the initial report. Someone identifies the issue. In this case, it's a foreign object, the glass. They request complaint information from the source, and that would be the person on Facebook. And then the manufacturer would request the lot number, production codes, dates, UPC, timestamps, and any other identifying information from the package. Next, you're going to jump into immediate action. Notify your internal quality assurance and food safety teams who will quarantine product, meaning they're going to isolate whatever you have left so that you can do some product checks. And then they may pause the production line to assess if there are any issues that are currently still here. They will then conduct the root cause investigation. Now, some of the methods to do this include 5 whys, fishbone diagram, and failure mode analysis. Now, during the investigation, they will check equipment logs for maintenance and any noted issues. They're also going to make sure that the maintenance schedules were done and look and see if there had been any glass that had been addressed recently. They're going to look at the foreign material control systems and are they working properly? Were the settings correct? Was everything together? And then you're going to look at team training and behavior. Does the team know what they're supposed to do? And did they do it? And then anything else that you determine could be a root cause when you're going through that procedure. Next, they're going to establish and implement corrective actions and preventive actions. These are commonly called CAPAs. Now, during your investigation, you should have narrowed down to the root cause. For example, a light bulb broke over the line the day the product was processed. The foreign object machine was not working properly, but it was discovered immediately after the glass broke. So they fixed it, they changed it, and the team thought they had gotten all the product out, but they possibly missed some. Your corrective action in this situation is to fix the immediate issue. Here, we are going to conduct a recall and pull all the product that may be potentially affected based on production times. This product was produced before they shut down the line and cleaned it, so they've got records that all that was done. Now, your preventive action is to make changes so that this won't happen again. For example, review incident procedure and make sure the stopgap for potentially affected products is adequate. You're going to train the team on your new procedures, and then you're going to update light covers, covers over the production area, and any other gaps that were identified during that investigation. This is the preventive action. You want to be thorough and work to prevent glass from getting in that product ever again. Next, you want to verify your corrective and preventive actions. And this happens through your internal audits, observations, or any tests to prove that your fix is actually working. And then finally, you want to document. You're going to ensure the investigation, the root cause analysis, the corrective and preventive actions are dedicated and detailed, and you want to save them for a minimum of 2 years. Now, in this incident, we conducted a recall, and in some instances, you must report the recall to the FDA. So, per the FDA's recall guidance, firms are required to report to FDA within 24 hours through the reportable food registry when there is reasonable probability that the use of or the exposure to a food item will cause serious adverse health consequences or death, somebody getting really sick or dying. And this could be humans or animals. Now, in this case, it's the size of the glass that determines if it must be reported. Now, FYI, glass measuring over 7 millimeters, mainly in ready to eat food, must be reported. Now, what does reporting look like? You're going to provide a full recall strategy, root cause investigation, consumer notifications, and the public alert if the product was already distributed. Now, what if they found nothing during the root cause investigation? You still need to document all the actions you took, and you should be tracking the complaint in case you receive another. In this situation, I hope it was a one off and that no other issues exist. Now, let's look at the responsibilities of different segments of the food chain when it comes to issues and root cause analysis. Let's talk about the public and the consumer responsibilities. First, make sure you save all packaging. You take clear pictures, you call the manufacturer directly, the number's usually on the box, and then you want to report it to the FDA MedWatch system if it is serious. Do not consume or serve questionable product. Sometimes the customer complains to the store they bought the product from, especially if you have private labels like Aldi. And if you are the retail store, these are your responsibilities. You need to document the consumer complaint. You need to save product packaging and receipts if it was returned. Alert the manufacturer or the distributor, and then you want to pull the product from the shelves if you're instructed. Make sure you track affected lots for traceability. And last but not least, the manufacturer's responsibilities are to conduct the root cause analysis, to coordinate corrective actions, and to notify the FDA and downstream consumers. You want to initiate a recall if it's needed and communicate with your distributors and your retail partners. They need to close this investigation out on their end as well. And see, it all works together, and we all must act to ensure our food supply is safe. Whether you're a food entrepreneur, a food worker, or a home cook, your job is the same. Care enough to correct it. Take all complaints seriously, investigate everything, have systems in place for corrective actions and preventive actions, and recall tracking. And then make sure you review your own equipment, labels, training, everything, and fix the small things before they become the big things. Now, this week, I want you to review how your business handles product complaints, whether they're big or small. Do you have a system in place to document the complaints? Do you complete a root cause analysis when there is a safety concern? And is there a CAPA process, even a simple one, that you're actively using? Let me know in the comments what's your current process and what are you missing? And please know that root cause analysis isn't hard. It's just picking a process and working through it until you get a clear reason for what happened. It's how we grow after a problem. And it shows your customers and the regulators that you lead with integrity. If you need help writing a recall plan or creating a CAPA template or understanding how this root cause analysis applies to your business, book a coach consult session with me over at the Paperwork Chef because I am happy to help. Now remember, we are building and strengthening our food safety management systems, and you got this. Manage your mindset, manage your methods, and I will see you next Monday.